Hey everyone, thanks for coming back for another episode. So, still working on the C8, except this time around, instead of just doing like aftermarket bolt-on parts, I'm actually designing and kind of fabricating what I'd want some parts to look like with body modification. So let's get started. So I figured we'd start with the side here. We're modifying the kind of the door and lower trim for the skirt, and I thought it would be awesome to add this double fin. So we already have this one extrusion on the door, and I'm just duplicating that to kind of have this double vent look going on. Seemed to turn out pretty well. Kind of fills in that gap underneath the previous little fin, if you want to call it that. So we're going to move on to lowering this car. Obviously the C8R is already a bit lower. It also has some other body kit pieces that make it appear lower. But we're just going to go ahead and drop this whole thing a couple inches. Obviously we still need to make it drivable for a street car, but should be something that'd be possible to do even so once you get your C8. If it's not like the C7 where we could just turn some bolts and lower it an inch or so, I'm sure there's plenty of suspension ideas out there to get a little bit lower stance on this, but here we go. We're going to kind of give you an idea what it looks like lower. Adding some shadow around the wheels, make it look like they fit back in with the different ride height. In the front here, the C8R again has the I believe 9 cube fog lights, and kind of mimicking that idea in these vented areas. I'm going to switch it out and do just 3 bar fog lights, which you'll see shortly as we work on this. But I thought some angled fog lights would give a nice idea and aggressiveness to the front of this car. Kind of add to that mean look. Obviously once we got it lowered, just kind of fill in that extra space. I feel like the original design was nice, but it's missing something to kind of pull more off on the front. I kind of kept it pedestrian for a car for everybody. Obviously if this was mine, we're designing based on what I think it could be, and if it had a choice, how I'd want to tell a manufacturer to make a front fascia for me. So that's kind of the idea on this. So obviously just duplicating those fog lights for the other side. And this grill, although is functional, has a nice look. I kind of had an idea with kind of a more open concept for this grill, a little bit deeper along the edges, and just leave it wide open for a possible airflow to the back. Obviously this is going to be a mid-engine, so airflow to the front doesn't mean anything, but we could, I'm sure in the future, if this was ever used, they could modify airflow to make that work. Now we're going back over to the side skirt. Now we have this additional fin, just finishing up the bottom skirt on this, give us some extra dimension that fills in kind of that gap from about mid-door to the rear wheel. On this hood, I thought we could do an accent. I I think similar to what the Ford GT has, kind of that reverse air vent, just kind of give us some more dimension on the hood. Again, not really functional since that's just a trunk space. I'm going to remove the front badge and kind of replace it with a bigger one. Put it in that grille now that we've made it a large open gap. I think it gives a little more of an accent than just the tiny one on the upper front fascia. And since this was such a gap in the front grille, I decided to kind of throw in these little spike accents. Not really sure what else to call them. Try to just give the front some more dimension again. Trying to add to that aggressive feel, or make it a little bit more aggressive than the factory has made it out to be. And along with that, lowering the car. I always like a little bit better offset so the wheel feels like it's actually even with the fender rather than being tucked. So a little bit more of a negative offset, bring those wheels out. Just give it a nicer stance. So that's what we got. Getting into very specific, more detail-oriented ideas. I might do one on the rear as well. But if you'd like to see something else, or if you've got some ideas for some different front elements I could add, feel free to let me know in the comments. And if there's any other cars other than the C8 you'd like to see done as well, please let me know. I'm a huge fan of the C8. Hopefully one day I can get one. And again, let me know what you like, don't like, and we'll see what we come up with in the next one. See you later.